about to see is the plowing through of a habitat right here. These are the wheels of progress advancing, supposedly.
No, this area was, a biologist did inspect this area. So
what is your name, sir?
It's Phil Frisbee, Jr., and I'm the CalTrans Public Information Officer for this area.
And you understand that this area has been completely approved by biologists, state agencies, and that there were no migratory or nesting birds being harmed here?
Yes. If you want to request the paperwork, please fill out a California Public Record Act request.
Would you please get the paperwork on site so that you can...
On site, or else...
You have way better access to paperwork than we do.
No, you need to submit the request.
Why do we need to do it?
Because that is California law. That is California law.
Note the public information that it says on his helmet, folks.
That's correct.
By the people, of the people, for the people. This is our taxpayers' dollars here.
Happened and when they're saying that they were signed off on. And who signed off on them?
Who signed those papers?
I cannot answer that question on that because I don't have them with me. And I wish
public information officer project.
Because
that's a fundamental aspect of the
no,
project.
it's not.
You needed to have that done.
Transparency, sir. You're a tax-paid organization. Transparency is at the heart of your organization, is it not?
That's true.
Then how come you're not providing that transparency for us?
Please submit the formal request. And when I'm back in the office in the next day or two, I will be able to request those documents. We are allowed up to 10 days. I'm not sure if they're going to be paper or if they're electronic, but please, you can feel free to call me or email me, and I will produce those documents as per California state law.
Okay, so we don't have to submit a CTRA. We can just call you and you're going to tell us what it says in the documents.
Yes.
And then later
because I am out of the office.
Is it so we can call in the office right now and have that information confirmed that you're the only person in the public information office?
I do have a coworker that will be backing me up, but he will not be able to produce them any faster than I can, because I will be back in the office within the next couple days.
Yeah, I mean that's a completely key piece of information. I find it impossible for you to just access that within a matter of minutes.
This is not a good location because of the active construction.
This is not a good location for active construction. I live right over there on the other side of those trees. This is not a good idea.
Yeah, there's 6 miles of really bad locations for a freeway through here. That's the overriding problem. That's why we're out here.
Right. If we could bring it over here.
Okay, I want everybody to get a really good look at this one. This is right in the swath of destruction. That's a bird nest. There's the stakes. There's the line. That's a bird nest that was called to my attention when I saw the 2 birds that were building it fly away. I'm going to see if I can surprise those parent birds who are distressed over the destruction of their nest again. They keep returning and then flying away. Here's another nest. Not sure what it is, but it's definitely another nest.
Yeah, it's an underground nest.
So I have videos and photographs of nests that have been plowed over by your machines. Would you like to see these photographs and videotapes, or would you like to go see the nests themselves?
I would have to say that I am not a biologist, so I don't know if those nests are active or if they're old or what. So I would have to say that, you know, I confirmed from my coworker Scott Berger that the public records request has been logged and it will be processed as quickly as we can, with no longer than 10 working days as per state law.
So I just witnessed parent birds that were making a nest leaving that nest because it has been plowed over by that machine. Clearly it was not an abandoned nest. I have video and photographs of these nests right here on this camera, should you like to see them. These photos are less than a couple minutes old.
As I said, I am not a biologist. I do not know all the laws and regulations.
But you do understand that nests mean baby birds.
To construct here, you should be responsible for knowing laws and regulations that might prevent you
I am
from
not.
doing so.
I am the public information officer. I am not the biologist overseeing this project.
Okay, they're coming in right towards this. Okay, watch this. We're gonna get this on film. Here is the bird nest. Okay, I'm calling CalTrans in right now to look at this, and there's the nest, and there's the tractor, and here's how close we are, folks. There is the migratory bird nest. Could be a lives here in the valley nest. Definitely a nest. Here's the tractor. I'm not sure what this gentleman's actual job is, but he is inspecting it.
Well, it's interesting that there's no branches through the nest. I find that quite interesting.
He says he finds it interesting there's no branches in the nest. I'm not sure what kind of bird makes its nest out of straw.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's very loose, and actually I walked this area earlier, and this was not here.
He says that he walked this area earlier and this nest was not here. That's an amazing amount of observation. They were making their nest, in the process of making their nest with fresh materials that are newly green.
We could, the bottom's green.
Yeah, the bottom's green. That piece right there is clearly green.
Do stuff
I'm absolutely not familiar with the nest building practices of
like that. So,
every single bird in this valley, but
Hold on. Let me get my photo first.
everything that's going on here, you said you're wasting dollars.
I don't mean that.
Yeah, I think CalTrans is wasting about $250 million doing this project.
Lunch.
What did the meal?
Well, I can't get about 4
Yes,
miles
sir.
that way. You're all the way to 101.
You say it's kind of like code for wildlife exclusion.
They gotta clear them. They're gonna come in and clear them. We gotta clear them. You can sit here a few minutes. I don't know how long he's gonna stay. I've been here 40 minutes.
Yeah, we found a bunch of bird nests up there, and under the Migratory Bird Act, you're supposed to have a biologist document the bird nests and not have them destroyed. So we're just upholding the Migratory Bird Act right now.
So your job will be held up as long as it takes CalTrans to produce that documentation for us. And they said that might be 10 days before that can go through.
I didn't like clearing all this with a posi track. I know that. I'm gonna go get another excavator.
So it looks like they're checking out the first bird nest, which has now been completely run over by a tractor.
It was real. Real nests, they don't fall apart.
Especially when they're run over by tractors.
Well, even then, there's no structure to it. No feathers. Yeah, somebody just put this one together.
Good. This is good.
What's your name, sir?
This is SHN. And what's your name?
Are you a biologist? Yes, sir. Are you? Actually, late January.
Okay, but the Migratory Bird Act kicks in February 1st. This is when the birds are nesting.
That's what we were
Pretty well aware.
The game?
So this fellow's a biologist who works with SHN Engineering.
It's a net.
He's about to check out the bird nest that Mr. Jerome picked up and disturbed and crunched around.
If you look at the way a real bird's nest is made, they're made to withstand wind and shaking in the trees. When you pick that one up, there was no structure to it. It's like someone just sort of mashed
Crushed,
it together.
perhaps crushed by a
They're
machine.
like this, and they're not attached.
But they're much more interlaced.
Well, what kind of nest would that be?
There's 100 bird species in this area.
So so you're saying it's a bird species
That's a
nest,
bird's
probably?
nest, but it's not where it would be if it were.
Okay, so it is a bird's nest, is what you're saying. You just said
No,
it's not a
I'm
bird's
not
nest.
saying it is.
Okay, you said there's
Resembles.
but your answer was there's 100 bird species when I asked you what kind of nest you think it is. You're implying it's a bird nest.
Well, it's resembling. Build its nest on a rat's nest. Rats
Well,
eat.
they just came through
I think
and
when they
cleared this
plowed
area and
through
moved,
here, this
plowed
stuff
it
was
out of the
thrown
way.
out
It's
like
like
that.
there's a route. There's a bunch of brush that just got
Nobody's
cleared.
saying it was nesting there.
There's small manzanita trees that have been cleared.
No, somebody picked it up and...
Actually, I think
This gentleman picked it up and moved it.
Yeah, the CalTrans folks put it there.
Exactly where I found it.
That's exactly where you put it back.
So it could be a bird's nest is what you're saying, but you're also saying it's not a bird's nest? Well, I'm concerned if you aren't able to conclusively say that that's not a bird's nest, yet you're saying that it's not a bird's nest, that we don't have anything valid to stand on here.
Well, if you really want to ID if it is indeed a bird's nest, you want to find out what kind of bird it is, find a feather, and that way you can probably identify what kind of bird is actually using it.
Okay. We could possibly...
Is that something that we can do?
Possibly identify what kind of bird it is, but we can't negatively say that it's not a bird's nest. And that's the entire issue. That's what the Migratory Bird Act point is to protect bird's nests and document whether it's bird's nests and confirm that they're not bird's nests of the birds.
Warren, we let the rest of it go to Phil. They put in a request, they'll get the information that way.
Yeah, well, Phil's not going to be able to speak as authoritatively as a biologist as to issues in the field. So we're trying to get direct answers from a biologist.
I recently, I agree with that.
Check the other one out. This one looks real similar.
He checked out the other one that had been run over by a Positrack and then run over again by the pile driver.
If it had been run over, it would have been a lot more tore up.
I'd feel better if you look real closely at it, just for me, rather than standing back here and saying you don't know. You actually are.
Yeah.
Well, a biologist is required.
It's not attached because Mr. Jerome here picked it up and looked at it and crunched it in his hands. We have that on video as well.
That's all on video.
Like this. Well, you don't.
Don't birds feather their nest just before they have their eggs?
Yes.
Don't they build the whole thing first and then decide it's time to take my feathers off and make this thing warm and cozy?
Well, feathers fall off all the time. If they're doing this kind of work.
But when a bird makes a nest, they specifically pull feathers.
You just said it's a recently constructed nest. Has there been time for a bird to drop a feather in a recently constructed nest, authoritatively speaking?
It's still January, February. The birds aren't even nesting. We've been watching birds. There's been no nesting activity we've seen so far.
It's February 26th.
I've been out here. I've seen birds nesting.
Are you the expert that they send
up at
out
the
here to
tree
make
sit
sure?
area.
Hello.
Hi. What'd you find?
Well, we're waiting for Fish and Wildlife to come because the requisite surveys haven't been done, and the Migratory Bird Act is in effect, and there's different nests that have been found. So we have, since CalTrans hasn't done the requisite work, we've called Fish and Game, and Rusty is on his way out here. He'll be escorted to East Hill Road.
Okay.
But there is vegetation removal going on, and the Migratory Bird Act the surveys haven't been done to comply with the Migratory
Did
Bird
Rusty say where he's coming from or how long it will be?
I just got a call saying he'd be here in about a half an hour. That was about 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
And he's coming in on the East Hill side, and he'll be escorted by someone named Tim out here.
Who was Tim with?
Tim works with us.
You guys, okay.
But, the appropriate surveys have not been done by CalTrans. It's a little late in the game. There's vegetation removal going on here, and I guess it's the citizens of Willits that have to ensure that the regulations are being met because CalTrans isn't doing it. So we're doing CalTrans work for them right now.
What type of vegetation removal has been going on?
Well, look around you. What do you see here?
This was all densely overgrown.
Some trees, there's thickets or typical nesting area, and it's been crushed. So there's a lot of vegetation removal. The permit for the ESA fencing, environmentally sensitive area fencing, has not been received. There's just a lot of non-compliance, and we need to get that taken care of. So yeah, so I think we're just waiting for Fish and Game, Rusty from Fish and Game to come. And, we're hoping that will begin a process of getting the appropriate review and survey of this area done.
Yeah. Did Rusty say where he's coming from, what office he's coming out of?
Fish and Game.
Fish and Wildlife.
But do you know what office?
I didn't ask.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for your patience.
Going on and we'll go from there.
Yeah. It just...
They just want to get in there and
want to
do
get the
this
job
thing. It
done
starts
and
not
get
being
the
worth
money
it to
flowing,
them.
yeah.
They're just going to walk away.
Yeah, well, the
If we make
contractors, every day they're not working.
That's what we want them to do, just walk away. What did that say? We're about to look at a spot that's been run over by a positrack, a pile driver, and has had this guy personally rip the nest into little tiny pieces. So we're not really going to be looking at much anymore. You just walked right over it, sir. You just kicked it as you walked over it. It's the spot where you pulled it apart and made sure it was totally desecrated.
Oh, that's kind of a funny way of wording it, but actually...
No, that's it right there.
It is it.
That's it. Okay, right now he's denying that this is even where it was. Okay?
It all kind of looks the same.
Yeah.
But that is it, yeah.
That's what it
Here's
was.
where it was before we have on film this gentleman right here ripping it into pieces. It was underneath those poison oak.
Don't make somebody mad.
What kind of birds would you expect to see in this sort of brushy?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do surveys and everything. It's not my area to be determining what exactly. I mean, I can't even tell. To me, that looks right now just like grass. I mean, anyone could have just pulled that out.
But we watched this guy pull it apart. Would you like to see that?
Listen to me.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that looks like just a tuft of grass. And if you were just walking anywhere else and this wasn't the situation or anything else, that's what it looks like. I'm pretty new to this whole thing. I haven't been out there at this site at all. Okay? You need to understand where I'm coming from. I work on facts and evidence. So that's all I care about. And whatever it shows, that's what it shows. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, well, they went home. They backed down for today. And they tried, but that's what stopped them.